you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. Let's get straight to it. We have a lot to get through today. The first story is the centre's new data protection bill that has received dissent notes from 7 opposition members: Congress, the Trinamool Congress, and the Biju Janata Dal. Now, NDTV has reported that these members contend that the proposed law will give unbridled power to the government and its agencies and allow them to get away by using the public order and national security clause in the bill. Now, according to the government, the bill seeks to regulate personal data processing and will ensure that social media platforms and companies dealing with private data follow stringent guidelines so the right to privacy can be upheld. Now, the Trinamool MPs described the bill as Orwellian in nature and raised questions in the functioning of the committee. In their dissent note, they have alleged that the committee rushed through its mandate and did not provide sufficient time and opportunity for stakeholder consultations, according to sources quoted by NDTV. An update now on the heavy rains taking place in Andhra Pradesh that's wreaked havoc in the last couple of days. The death toll is mounted to 33. That's the latest figure, and at least 12 people are reportedly missing. Now, Penna River has been in spate since Sunday, causing heavy destruction. And according to NDTV, this is the worst flood in 140 years. The last time such a huge flow happened, especially near Nellore Barrage, was in 1882. And B. Rajashekar, special officer to oversee floods in Nellore, has said a record 5.49 lakh cusecs of water has flowed through the Nellore Barrage. In fact, the flow of water had broken National Highway 16, breaking down the Chennai-Kolkata road link as well. NDTV has reported that the highway has now been temporarily restored. In fact, on Sunday, at least 17 express trains were cancelled on the Chennai-Vijayawada Grand Trunk route as the flood overflowed on the railway track as well. The 3 other trains were partially cancelled or diverted. A fresh flood scare, this is according to several reports in the meantime, has also been sounded off in Tirupati, which is a temple town, and surrounding villages as well. According to the News Minute, hundreds of passengers were stuck in the Nellore RTC bus station as bus services were also disrupted. More than 35,000 people have been lodged in the relief camps set up in Nellore. Meanwhile, it's the same story in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Rain has battered several roads in northern Bengaluru and Chennai's Manali area on Monday. Now, the Alasandra Lake has overflowed, resulting in waterlogging in surrounding areas, and this is in Bengaluru. Areas like Yelahanka, Nagavara, Kogilo Cross, and Vidyaranyapura areas in Bengaluru, this is according to Live Mint, were badly impacted. In fact, water entered multiple homes in Manali, which is an industrial pocket of Tamil Nadu's capital. Many parts of the neighborhood in northern Chennai were also heavily inundated. The last couple of days, we've seen Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh bear the maximum brunt of heavy rainfall and floods. In an update now in the farmer story, if you remember, Prime Minister Modi had announced that the 3 farm laws will be repealed. He said that will happen in the parliament session. Samyukta Kisan Morcha, which is a group of farmers or farmers union, has said in a letter to Prime Minister Modi that they have put forward 6 demands. They also went on to say that they will decide on the next future course of action on the agitation on November 27th. Now, this is what the letter says. The letter says, and I quote, MSP based on comprehensive cost of production should be made a legal entitlement of all farmers for all agricultural produce so that every farmer of the country can be guaranteed the MSP announced by the government for their entire crop. Withdraw the draft Electricity Amendments Bill 2020-2021, end quote. They also sought removal of penal provisions against farmers in the Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Act 2021. The SKM's demands also include the sacking and arrest of Union Minister of State for Home Ajay Mishra, whose son is an accused in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence. In the meantime, Telangana government announced 3 lakh rupee as compensation each to the families of the 750 farmers who died while protesting against the centre's farm laws at Delhi's borders. Remember, this protest has been going on for the last 1 year now. In the meantime, the Andhra Pradesh government has withdrawn the controversial three capital bill after a spate of legal hurdles. Chief Minister Y.S. Jagannath Reddy, however, said that his government would bring in a comprehensive, complete, and better bill. Now, the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister said, and I quote, "Our intention of a decentralized development of the state has been twisted, distorted, and misinformation campaign has been launched. Also, legal hurdles were created and court cases filed." End quote. He also went on to say that the 2020 Act was being repealed to protect the larger interests of people, without referring, of course, to the farmers of the Amaravati region who've been protesting for the last 700 days now. Mr. Reddy said that the government would explain its genuine intention and the need for decentralization to all concerned and incorporate necessary changes in the new bill. An update now on the Delhi pollution. Delhi's Directorate of Education on Sunday announced that all schools in the national capital will remain closed for physical classes till further orders, and online education will continue. Now, the Delhi government had first announced that schools will be shut from November 13th due to the deteriorating air quality in the national capital region. Government and private employees were working from home, and construction activities were also banned. If you remember, Delhi's AQI was in the very poor category. It continues to remain so for the last 1 week at least. On Monday, which is the 22nd of November, Delhi's AQI was 311. Moving on now, the Supreme Court has granted former Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh protection from arrest and also asked him to join investigations into the extortion cases against him. Now, this comes after his lawyer informed that Parambir Singh is, and I quote, "not absconding and is in fact in India." Parambir Singh's lawyer pleaded, and I quote, "It should not appear to the court that I am afraid. I have full faith in the system. I am ready to appear before a CBI court. I am being hounded. There are 6 cases against me. I am suffering. Please grant me protection. I was the senior most police officer and I'm not going to run anywhere." End quote. Mr. Singh faces at least 4 cases of extortion against him. Moving on now, news coming in from Rajasthan. As many as 15 ministers, including 11 cabinet ministers and 4 ministers of state, were sworn in as Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot reshuffled his cabinet on Sunday. Now, they were sworn in by Rajasthan Governor. Former Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot said that the move has sent a good message across the state. Remember, Rajasthan is set to go to polls in 2023. Also, former Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh has announced that he will contest the upcoming state assembly elections from the Patiala Assembly constituency. Now, earlier, Amrinder Singh had announced his own political party called Punjab Lok Congress and said it will contest all 117 assembly seats in the state. On to COVID numbers now. India has reported 8,488 new COVID cases and 249 deaths in the last 24 hours, something that's been consistent over the last 1 week as well. Kerala, in the meantime, has reported 3,698 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. On to business news right now. The Reserve Bank of India today announced a draft amalgamation scheme of the Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, also known as the PMC Bank, with Unity Small Finance Bank Limited. Now, RBI said, and I quote, "It may be seen that USFB is being set up with a capital of about 1,000 crore rupee as against a regulatory requirement of 200 crore rupees for setting up of a small finance bank under the guidelines for on-tap licensing of small finance bank in private sector dated December 5th, 2019, with provision of further infusion of capital at a further date after amalgamation," end quote. Now, the RBI has invited suggestions on this draft scheme till the 10th of November. A final decision will be taken after that, according to the RBI. On to international news right now. The WHO has said that it is very worried about the spread of COVID-19 in Europe. And as Europe continues to battle fresh wave of infections right now, you've also seen protests erupt over the last couple of days. According to BBC, WHO Europe's regional directors warned that over 5 lakh more deaths could be recorded by March unless urgent action is taken. Now, several European countries have also announced new COVID curbs. According to Dr. Klug, following factors are contributing to this COVID surge that we're seeing in Europe. First of all, winter season, insufficient vaccine coverage, and Delta variant. In the meantime, thousands of people are extremely unhappy with the new COVID restrictions in Europe. We've seen protests happen over the last couple of days, especially in Belgium and in Netherlands. According to AFP, around 145 people have been arrested in Netherlands over the last 3 days of unrest that's been sparked by COVID curfew. And in Brussels on Sunday, officers fired water cannons and tear gas at a protest that police said was attended by over 35,000 people. Same thing happened in Denmark as well. Around 1,000 demonstrators protested government's plans to reinstate a COVID pass for civil servants. Now, demonstrators are largely opposed to the use of COVID passes, which stops them, especially the unvaccinated ones, from entering venues such as restaurants or bars. In the meantime, another set of restrictions imposed by the Taliban in Afghanistan. Women have been banned from appearing in television dramas. Now, female journalists and presenters have also been ordered to wear headscarves on screen, although the guidelines do not say which type of covering to use. Now, women have also been barred from education and workplace since the Taliban took over in August. In the meantime, Sudan's military has reached a deal with civilian leaders to reinstate Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, who was deposed in a coup last month. Now, the military also announced that they will release all political detainees. Mr. Hamdok will now lead an independent democratic cabinet. On to sports news right now. Manchester United sacked their manager after the club suffered 4 defeats in the last 5 Premier League matches. Now, in a statement, the club has said, and I quote, "While the past few weeks have been disappointing, they should not obscure all the work he has done over the last 3 years to rebuild the foundations for long-term success. He leaves with our sincerest thanks for his tireless efforts as manager and our very best wishes for the future," end quote. The club further said that Michael Carrick will take charge of the team for forthcoming games. In the meantime, India has defeated New Zealand by 73 runs in the third T20 international in Kolkata to register 3-0 series whitewash. With this, India completed its second successive clean sweep victory against New Zealand. And one piece of good news before we wrap up this bulletin: world's first fully electric and self-steering container ship owned by fertilizer maker Yara has completed its first visit to Oslo. Now, the 80-meter long Yara that will be fully autonomous in the next 2 years will begin operations in 2022. The ship will cut 1,000 tons of carbon emissions per year. That is equivalent to 40,000 diesel-powered journeys by road. Now, that brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.